What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the fuck?
What's up? It's your boy. Can't turn YouTube shit. Hey man, say man, we are Liddy. Turn. Say to motherfucker, sure hitting outside. Big crip in the gang, sure hitting outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo, Russia your thing, and Texas stand the fuck up. Each day is another be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring that off my back. Never let somebody tell you who you are, but also put yourself in a position alone. Let's stay humble. The young revolution on the movement. Keep y'all right first. Coming to the Black Kid Rivers like as a real Jew. We out here. Alright. Boom. Say to motherfucker, sure hitting outside. Big crip in the gang, sure hitting outside shit, man. Turn up. Gang. Hey, bruh. Like I said, man, it's a lot of rappers that's in jail right now that are fighting for their damn life, bruh. These niggas become multi-millionaires. Famous as fuck. Just to lose it all in an instant is insane. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, they trying to give people the death penalty. So we got Y&W Melly, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Y&W Melly got a new trial, man. And it's supposed to be started in September the 10th. So right here we got, they trying to push the shit back. So we trying to see what the judge gonna do. If they gonna push it back or they gonna keep it on the same date, September the 10th. Also, they trying to get Y&W Melly, lawyer. She could be getting hit up for like witness tampering and all types of goofy shit, like shit with Y&W Melly. But right now we just trying to see. Y&W Melly, even if he beat this case, they still trying to see if they got to get this nigga with witness tampering. And that's automatic life. So we finna break this shit down, man. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, the way this shit looking, Y&W Melly can beat this shit, man. Make sure y'all send the support and prayers out to him, man. Let's get into this bitch. So they trying to get Y&W Melly a new trial date, gang. What y'all think, man? Hey, I feel like the faster they would have done this shit, man, I think it would have been easier for Y&W Melly, Crip. But like, the longer it takes, the more bullshit can happen. Cause you already know they got people saying something happened to the jury. You know what I'm saying? They trying to say that they scared out the other lawyers and shit. So it's like, nigga, they need to move this on. Like, the longer it takes, more bullshit can happen, man.
So I would ask the court to inquire from the state.
But I know Y&W Melly facing the death penalty, but damn, nigga, you know what I'm saying? We don't want to get this nigga any more chance to get more fucked up.
Tomorrow, or in the middle of this trial.
Y&W Melly. Remember him? He's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, accused of killing
They said if he beat this case, he's there another case to
He's already
get him
been in jail
life.
since 2019. And yes, he's already been on trial once.
For witness tampering.
You know how that ended.
They trying to get this nigga life. Even if he beat both of these trials, they trying to get that nigga witness tampering to give that nigga life again with something else. They need to get this shit gone, bro, for he fucked up and get a different
trial was
trial.
declared back in 2023. Since then, there's been a slight change at the defense table, and there's been a prosecution shakeup too. And in a surprising move, the state wanted some more time before retrying the case. But does the new judge overseeing the case agree? Thanks for joining us on Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milton. Now, it's been a while since I talked about Y&W Melly, mainly because I was covering another high-profile case right here in New York. But over in South Florida, Melly remains where he's been, in lockup. Now, depending on the outcome of his retrial, he's facing anywhere between life in prison or the death penalty if he's convicted. Now, when does his retrial begin, you might be wondering? Well, in about 2 months, despite a push
It's about 2 months.
February of 19.
2019, Mr. Demons voluntarily surrendered and was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Wherein the state indicated they were seeking the death penalty if, in fact, he was found guilty. In October of 23, Mr. Demons was rearrested for tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal gang, solicitation to commit tampering, and conspiracy to commit tampering.
So that was a little snippet of the charges Melly faces, but I'm sure those following the case already knew that, and likely already know the allegations in the case too. Melly, his friend Corlin, and their friends Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams were all at the studio together, and all hopped into the car together after the late-night recording session. Christopher and Anthony never made it home that night. Back in October of 2018, they were killed in a drive-by shooting. But prosecutors allege it wasn't random. It was someone from inside the car that made the fatal shots and staged it to look like a drive-by shooting. Prosecutors allege Melly pulled the trigger, and Cortland helped cover it up. And while I talk about how Melly's been in jail for more than 6 years, it's been nearly 7 years since Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr.'s families' lives were changed forever, with no closure on the case so far. So Melly's mistrial happened in late summer of 2023. Now we're approaching late summer of 2025, and Melly's trial is going back to square one. Well, kind of.
Nigga graduated high school and got that bitch and still covering this nigga
despite objections from the state who wanted to delay the trial.
I have the state's motion to reconsider oral orders before the trial on September the 10th. The trial date remains set on September the 10th. I did that last July 2024. Although there's no motion to continue filed, I did read the motion. I guess.
Bro, I wonder how this nigga felt when King Von passed away, bro. Because this nigga used to kill that nigga.
Read it again. Florida Statute 924-071. Additional grounds for appeal by state, time for taking in the state of cause. I likewise again reviewed the omnibus order on defendant's motion to suppress 1 through 13.
I feel they can get past all these BS.
December the 20th, 2023.
Prove that he didn't do
I
nothing.
also reviewed the order Judge Murphy.
He got a little slight chance, man.
Set aside state, an order granting defendant's motion to modify the state to allow
the way this judge is, man, I don't know.
2024.
This a new judge. True.
Court case called Mitchell versus State. 911-7-2-11. Supreme Court case from September of 2005 regarding serious constitutional issues that are implicated if the state were to be automatically entitled to stay the effective decision at first the state in a criminal proceeding. So
the whole point of this trial is to get it retrial. You know what I'm saying?
No, Judge. My motion basically covers the previous court's orders, the statute, the case law in terms of how this case is stayed.
Okay. Defense. You all want the case to be stayed? The state says it stays. So do you agree with the motion?
The one that did at the courtroom?
We have 1 moment.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Against our advice, our client was proceeded.
The one that did in forehead actually looking wild, but that's fresh, nigga.
Determines its automatic stay.
Based upon what our client has instructed us, yes, sir.
Okay, so let me make the record crystal clear on this one as well. I am aware that 924-071 calls for an automatic stay while the
boy, this lawyer, bro, I'm telling you, man, YNW Melly, man, his lawyer done fucked his ass up, man.
Judge Murphy entered his motion to suppress, which is the subject of the appeal right now. He entered this order on December 20th, 2023. That was 568 days ago. And in that order, he says, our court has not been moved to consider the suppression of specific evidence. It is up to the party to inform the court as to what specific evidence falls within the suppression order and what specific evidence is admissible pursuant to that order. When we were here on the defense renewed motion for bond on May 6th, that was 65 days. I asked you all, had you gotten together and figured out what specific evidence falls within the suppression order? I'm gonna guess that has.
Boy, this
Judge,
shit
I
wow.
was offered to the court last time as to what that evidence would be.
It was basically family based, for lack of a better term.
No, they were aggravators. They go to membership in a gang. There were things that the jury would have to find before going into penalty.
Not aggravators as to the death, but
Sorry.
aggravators as to the gang enhancement itself, Your Honor. That was charged. He was charged in committing the murder for the furtherance of the gang, which is an aggravator in terms of the guilt.
Something that they would have to find by way of
They trying to say he was
Yes.
he gonna put the money up behind the gang to kill the murder, to do the murder.
That's not true.
That's not correct.
He was part of it.
No, we go to
No, what you just said, did you not agree on? There is a system. I'm sorry. Have you all done what Judge Murphy ordered you to do in 2023? It is up to the party to inform the court as to what specific evidence falls within the suppression order and what specific evidence is admissible pursuant to equal. You have that?
May I answer the question this way? At that time, the state appealed it all, which stayed everything. And so at this point, the law on whether or not Judge Murphy was right or not is all up at the fourth, and it stayed. We can't determine that in a stayed case. It stayed.
Talk to the
So they can't determine that he was behind the murder because he was part of the gang.
Argue what I have to argue, Judge. You're saying it stayed for only one purpose, but not. The answer is we are stayed and unable to do so.
You don't even know what evidence the order is.
No, I believe we do, and I think that's on appeal at the fourth. But during a state case, we cannot do those things. And that's why it hasn't been done. Not because we haven't wanted to. They appealed it. It stayed.
Unfortunately, to also remind the court, the defense did cross appeal, so even stuff that would remain in is also potentially could now be excluded should the fourth rule in the defendant's favor.
And that's still pending before the fourth.
If you don't agree with their request, you want to go forward. That's what you just told me. Your client wants to go forward.
That's what he said.
So according to the Sun Sentinel, the original judge on this case,
Yeah.
Judge Don Murphy, ruled prosecutors wouldn't be able to reuse some of the technological evidence the state presented to
'cause
help
they already
establish
used it.
Melly's alleged motives, gang affiliation, and
Yeah,
consciousness
that's
of
a
guilt.
W.
The appeals court has yet to rule on if those restrictions will still stand and are supposed to hear arguments about it on September 16th, a week after Melly's retrial is supposed to begin. But as you just heard from the judge, the case is still set to move forward on September 10th, and the issues in front of the appeals court aren't enough to delay the trial. But the state isn't the only one suffering some issues too. The defense is too. They accuse the Broward State Attorney's Office of prosecutorial misconduct, and Melly faces another charge of witness tampering. Oh, and one of his lawyers is under investigation. But as of this recording, she doesn't face any charges.
Oh, she's not facing the charges?
Customized and safe.
I don't know how we can.
This is getting wild. So the people going against YNW can't use stuff, and the people that YNW with can't use certain stuff. So I mean, it's a job. True.
Solicitation, conspiracy, tamper. When we don't know all the facts.
That witness tamper, the only thing that's gonna fuck YNW up, bro, crip.
To wire from the state.
That
And
witness
this is truly
tamper,
an
bro.
ongoing investigation. When is it going to come to a head? Today, tomorrow, or in the middle of this trial? And how come you have not pursued, when you file a memorandum of law, saying that this liberty must, regardless of what Mr. Devins wants, regardless of what the defense team does,
Get your bald-headed, long, scuba diving-head ass, Humpty Dumpty egg-head ass.
I don't know how they can do this.
So Melly's trial is moving forward in September, nearly 7 years after
Oh, I
Anthony
didn't know
Williams
this.
and
Slap that
Christopher
old
Thomas
white
Jr. were
motherfucker.
murdered. How will his retrial
That
differ
dude
from his
really
first
can't
trial? Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. But let's break it down with criminal defense attorney Safa Robinson Ferrer. Safa,
This is crazy.
first of all, great to see you. Like, I haven't seen you in a while in this format, I should say. But
Queen Elizabeth.
yeah, thank you. But I'm curious, like, on your thoughts on this case as opposed opposed to what we were normally talking about, which was Diddy. But in this case with YNW Melly, are you surprised that the judge said, let's move forward with the case, even though the state was waiting for whatever the appeal court was going to say about restrictions, like technological evidence, gang affiliation, all of that stuff? But are you surprised the case is moving forward in September?
I'm not surprised at all. Mr. Dimmons has been waiting in custody to see a trial on this case since, I believe, 2019. You know, he obviously went to trial before. That ended in a mistrial, and he's remained in custody since then. And he has a right to a speedy trial, a constitutional right to a speedy trial. And I think in this particular case, the judge is trying to ensure that. So it's not surprising here that the judge is saying, no, we're going to trial on this particular date, and everybody needs to be prepared to move forward.
And I thought it was interesting, too, because just watching back the hearing, it was actually Jamel Dimmons, a.k.a. YNW Melly's decision to move forward with this against the advice of his attorneys, his defense attorneys. What do you make of him kind of pushing himself to kind of get this trial going just to see what's going to end up happening?
Yeah, you know, I think at the end of the day, he's been sitting there for quite some time, and he just wants to move forward with his life, whether that is an acquittal so that he can get back to the public and get back to his work, or accept his fate as a convicted felon, someone that has been convicted of 2 counts of murder.
I don't know if he wants that.
So a lot of times with clients, in particular,
at the end of the day, man,
they don't like to sit in limbo, and considering
I know that limbo fuck your mind up, nigga.
So we're talking
never want to be in that cold hard concrete jail.
We saw how quick Mr. Combs' trial went to trial, or Mr. Combs' case went to trial. Mr. Melly, or YNW Melly, has that same exact right, and so it's not surprising to me that he wants to just get it over with.
Though.
You know, he probably expects or thinks that he's going to have something favorable to him as he commences on this trial, considering that the other trial landed in a mistrial, which essentially, for that moment, was a win for the defense.
And I think he was even hoping that there would be a possibility he could be out on bond or bail, and obviously that didn't happen. He's
they lost half the shit they're trying to go against him with.
Understand why he wants this to move forward, just to see what's going to end up happening. And given that this is a retrial, who do you think has kind of a tougher hurdle to overcome? Is it the prosecution? Is it the defense? Especially knowing that the offense that had happened, that being the double murders of YNW Juvie and YNW Sack Chaser, Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr., happened back in 2018. Who do you think has the tougher hurdle for this retrial?
I think that the tougher hurdle is always going to be remain with the prosecution, because it's their obligation to prove his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. They have to prove each and every element of each and every homicide offense beyond a reasonable doubt that he intentionally murdered these individuals.
And then
so that's always a hurdle.
That's
always a burden that the prosecution has to get over. At the same time, there are things that the defense is really going to have to work on here. This case landed in a mistrial previously, so the likelihood is that, again, if they came back hung, that some believed that he was guilty and some believed that he was not guilty. And so the defense is going to really have to hit away at the prosecution's arguments and theories that Mr. YNW Melly committed this murder. And so I think that both of them have a job to do, and it's going to be a pretty tough job on both sides. I think the prosecution's hurdle's a little bit higher.
Because they got a chance to look into the songs and everything.
Again, they have to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. And is there a possible doubt that may linger? It'll be, I guess, up to a jury to decide eventually when that happens. But there are a lot of high stakes in this case too. Not only is this first-degree murder and 2 counts of first-degree murder at that, but it also could be a death penalty case if Melly is convicted. What do you make of just the high stakes, especially that he is facing the death penalty?
Very, very, very high stakes in this case, and he's got everything to lose. He's got his life to lose. So this isn't just a case here where he's going to be spending the rest of his life in prison. This is a case where he could be sent to death because of this conviction or because of these convictions. So with respect to the defense team, they're really going to have to do a very fine-tooth comb job with cross-examination, making sure they cross their T's and dot their I's, and essentially save his life on the back end. If he is convicted, then they will enter the penalty phase, and his attorneys will argue,
we don't want at the most is death penalty.
For life.
No one wants to say they risk their life in prison.
Will ask for the death penalty based on the deaths, and the judge, or in Florida, I'm not sure if it's the judge or the jury that makes that determination, but ultimately the stakes are significantly high because he does face the death penalty.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because I remember when this case first happened back in 2023, or I should say the first trial happened in 2023. And I was always curious, especially about the death penalty aspect, given that law came down. It doesn't have to be unanimous. It just has to be kind of a majority thing. And in terms of that, what do you make of that? The jurors don't have to be unanimous on deciding the death penalty. It really just has to be kind of a majority, either go for it or they go against it. But what do you make of just that added layer to it?
That's wild.
That's a pretty difficult layer. And, I'm of the opinion, of course, as a defense attorney, that, they have to have a unanimous guilty verdict. I think that they should make a unanimous decision on whether or not
it don't have to be unanimous. It just got to be the majority. So if we got like 8 and the rest is like 9, 7 or some shit.
Judge who may be more equipped to handle or to make a decision like that, as opposed to lay people from the public who may not fully understand the law, may not understand certain things with respect to the death penalty. So I'm of the opinion that they should all unanimously make that decision. The fact that it is, based on a majority, of course, that's what Florida determined to be, their standard. And so, unfortunately, if he's convicted, then they will have to deal with that.
Yeah, and obviously we're months away from, that possibility, because it could go in the completely opposite direction. We just never know with cases like this, because I even remember back during the first trial, it was like Melly, was kind of adamant that he was inside the car. He even made that kind of video at the end. It said Melly and his friends were victims of being in drive-by. Then he kind of did an about face. His friend came on the stand and was just kind of like, oh no, Melly was actually here. He wasn't in the car when this happened. None of that. But do you think that we could get these kind of like bombshell moments in the retrial, or do you think it'll be more or less possibly the same as the first trial?
I think it's going to be pretty similar to the first trial, and I know that there were some bombshells that were dropped in that first trial, and the defense particularly is not going to want to shy too far away from whatever the testimony was, or whatever the testimony that was provided to them in favor of them during that first trial. So, whoever's going to testify on behalf of the defense, if they testified during the first trial, they don't want to get back on the stand during this trial and say something totally different and totally opposite. It's going to destroy the credibility of the defense's theory in their case, so they got to be really careful with that. And same for the prosecution, depending on who they call as a witness. There was clearly some sort of doubt that was laid out during that first trial, and I think that the defense should continue to pick away at that and go at that, because the prosecution didn't have a clear-cut case then. They don't have a clear-cut case now, which is why this case is going to trial again.
And also, really quick, Safa, I just want to clear up something I had mentioned earlier, just about it being a majority rule. It really just has to be 8 people, an 8-juror majority in order for the death penalty. So still a majority, but it has to be at least 8 people, which still is pretty scary to think about if you're a defendant in a case like this. But also with us being kind of months away from this trial, or really 2 months at this point, how important do you think jury selection will be in a case like this? Obviously, from other high-profile cases that we've covered, it's very important, this voir dire process. But in a case like this, where the stakes are high, including even death penalty as a possibility, how important do you think jury selection will be?
The case is won or lost during jury selection, and we say that all the time in the legal profession.
One jury who told them niggas not to do it, change your mind.
The defense is going to want jurors, specifically that are quite religious. And so, as we're preparing for voir dire and jury selection, we're thinking about the ideal juror that we would want. Even as a former prosecutor, the prosecution's ideal jurors, the defense's ideal jurors in this particular case, with respect to people who are heavily involved in religion, oftentimes they come out as great jurors for the defense, because they don't like to hold other people in judgment. They believe that that is the responsibility of God or a higher being. And so not wanting to hold someone in judgment, they don't like to usually find individuals guilty. Not only that, but if you're talking about the death penalty, they don't want to take a life. They don't think that that is their responsibility or their decision to make. Also, you want people, from the defense aspect who can relate to YNW Melly, who may be fans, who may, believe in him, believe in his case. young black men, young black individuals that may relate to him to some extent. And from the prosecution, you're going to want individuals who, are very law and order, very law enforcement, very geared towards, believing the police, believing in law enforcement. A lot of people who love true crimes, they're oftentimes, more favorable jurors to the prosecution as well. So each side has their different pickings of who they're going to want. They're going to try to knock off each and every person that the other side wants until they get that happy medium jury.
And it's interesting you say that, because I was thinking maybe the defense would want to go for the younger jurors too, but you saying the religious jurors, that kind of makes a lot of sense.
I mean,
yeah, I've had a ton of cases where voir dire,
some of these motherfuckers are
I've had someone raise their hand and say, I'm Catholic, I can't hold someone in judgment. I can't find somebody guilty. That's not my job. And so it actually happens quite frequently.
And it is true.
Yeah. And I want to also go back to a point that you had made earlier just about how important the cross-examinations will be in a case like this. Obviously, seeing the Diddy trial right in person, I saw how cross-examinations can really do wonders for the defense. And in terms of just the cross-examination versus the defense putting up some witnesses, do you think it's a good or a bad idea in a case like this to put up a ton of witnesses on the defense's behalf? Or do you think that they'll keep their list relatively small, maybe 2 people?
I don't know, because the more witnesses you got, the more chances you can fuck up.
They'll go for a long list of witnesses on the defense's side, or do you think they'll go for kind of a short list?
I'll go for the short list.
I think they're going to go relatively small, and I don't think that they need to go,
if we go for the long list, too many fuck-ups. Anything can happen.
26 witnesses. When it comes to essentially fighting these cases, the first thing that any defense attorney is going to look at is whether or not the prosecution has met its burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and that legal defense that they haven't met their burden, they cannot meet their burden. We're not required to say anything, do anything, present any evidence, present any witnesses. And if you find that they have not met any element of this charge, you must find my client not guilty. And I think that's going to be the cleanest way for the defense to go in and really tackle or fight tooth and nail with the prosecution on these charges. Also getting to the credibility of certain witnesses, and also challenging some of the scientific evidence. It depends on what type of evidence they still got. When it comes to ballistics and all of those sorts of things.
Like the evidence that they had last time, he was so close to getting proven guilty.
To tackle as well, because the prosecution
one lady who just changed the whole story.
Inside of the vehicle, the defense is saying, no, they did not. So we're going to be looking at blood spatter. We're going to be questioning technicians.
It's going to be the same clothes and shit, because I seen them clothes, nigga.
And again, if the prosecution fails, if they can't present certain pieces of evidence, and simply just can't meet their burden, then they have to come back not guilty, regardless of whether or not the defense calls any witnesses.
And obviously, prosecutors don't have to prove a motive when they're trying a case, but do you think jurors really want to hear the why? Why did this happen? Why would somebody allegedly shoot 2 of their very close friends, 2 of their childhood friends?
There's a lot of reasons.
That matters a lot to the juries, because me,
there's a lot of reasons,
but I ain't gonna get none of the reasons up. You did. Working at Law and Crime, I'm always curious about the why, but do you think why really matters?
It does matter, because jurors are going to want to reason why they make the decision.
There's a lot of reasons they can do this shit.
I have to have a reason why I'm going to find this person guilty. Did these murders allegedly take place because, it was a business deal gone wrong? Like, what is the person's motivation? And again, no, you do not have to prove motive, but jurors really like to get a full picture and a full grasp of, well, why would this person do this? Especially if these are 2 of his childhood best friends. What motivation would that be? And that's going to go to the defense's theory that he didn't do it. Why would he do it? These are his childhood best friends. They're in a rap group together. They've likely made money and or will make money together. So what is the motivation? It's going to be interesting how the jurors receive that. But although the prosecution doesn't have to prove motive, the jurors like to have a really solid sense of reasoning as to why they're going to make the decision of finding the person guilty if they make that decision.
Come on.
Well, Safa Robinson Ferrer, obviously we're going to be following this case very closely, but I want to thank you so much for your time and your insight into this. But before we sign you off, we talk about YNW Melly, aka Jamel Dimmons, very often. But, I always think back to like Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr.'s family in terms of just how long they've gone now without justice as to what happened to their kids, their loved ones, their family. What are your thoughts on just how long they've been waiting for justice in this case?
I think that it's important, and this is a homicide case.
I don't know if they're gonna get justice.
You want to ensure that there is integrity in the prosecution of this case because this family does deserve justice, and there isn't a person that deserves to be.
Because they don't have nobody else after YNW Melly. They banking it all on YNW Melly.
So it's really important on both ends to ensure that this prosecution is done with integrity, that there is a significant amount of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. That way, if there's a conviction that comes from it, then fine. That will give the family the justice they need. And I'm sure that they want to get this over with because, they've been sitting in limbo as well, just as much as YNW Melly has.
It's been so long, since 2018, October of 2018, so I can only imagine. And I, again, only can imagine how they're feeling right now. Safa Robinson Ferrer, again, thank you so much for your time and your insight into this case. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Melly will likely have another pretrial hearing before his September retrial.
Okay.
And Law and Crime plans to live stream his retrial on
Let's get it. Shout out to Brainflow TV. Man, like I said, man, that lawyer with YNW Melly, man, shit. They trying to hit her with a combo move. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know where YNW Melly got this lawyer from. You know what I'm saying? Like, they all going at her. They putting lawsuits on her. Shit, like, nigga got this motherfucker off of Craigslist. He got this motherfucking lawyer off of Backpage. What going on?
Melly is back in court again. And there is another update in the YNW Melly trial or case as we move towards his retrial in his double murder charge. So, here's where it all begins. If you've never been here before, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Click the bell next to the subscribe button so you're notified when new videos are uploaded to Brainflow TV.
Hell yeah.
So, YNW Melly was back in court on Wednesday after last week when a judge decided to keep his actual start court date for his trial, which is September.
Oh, so they kept it. So yeah, they were trying to move it back.
Trying to get the date changed, but the judge said,
"Damn,
no, too much of this moving back."
They were just trying to get more information.
Get this cracking. So during his hearing, the judge ordered documents that are related to YNW Melly's defense attorney to be turned over to the judge. The judge wants to see what the hell's going on. What is it now?
If you need $750,
the judge wants to see what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
What is it now?
Damn.
His lead defense attorney, which is Raven Liberty, the only woman on his defense team, she is under investigation by the Broward County Sheriff's Office. She has been under investigation by the Broward County Sheriff's Office for quite some time now.
Damn.
What it is exactly that she's under
That's what we just saw in her last one. They said they ain't no up on them though.
I heard rumors that she had passed YNW Melly some things or slipped him some stuff, or she was working on the other side of the law, so to speak. I don't know how true that is. I know that
Mama
they're investigating her. That's
me,
factual.
Boy,
I don't
count
know
your
what the reason is.
blessings.
I'm trying to find out, like the judge, what the reason is. What we do know, though, is her team wants
she
to
ready to risk it all for YNW Melly is insane.
To the 18-month-long investigation.
What type of manipulation did YNW Melly have on these hoes?
Been off limits to even
he had on his girlfriend, then he got on this lady.
Even her other lawyers don't know what the hell she under investigation for. Every time they ask what's she under investigation for, they're told that it's off limits to discuss right now because it is a police matter that is active and they're actively investigating. They want to know and they want to see the warrants that are related. They also want to see the warrants that are related to the 18-month-long investigation. Listen, the judge said, all fun and jokes aside, I want to see it too. So I am ordering all the paperwork to be handed over immediately. Well, Melly, whose real name is Jamel Demons, y'all know already, is accused of shooting and taking the life of two of his friends in October of 2018.
Goofy shit.
He's been in custody since his arrest in 2019 after he heard that he was wanted and turned himself in for questioning and never came back out. The first trial he had ended in a mistrial in 2023. And the judge that is now proceeding over this trial is not the judge that was on it before. This trial has also changed the judges, with the first judge going into retirement. I honestly think that first judge said, this shit is getting too much for me.
He got that bitch into retirement.
It's a good time to say
gambling, bamboozle head ass, yapping ass.
There are a lot of different moving parts to this case
Goofball
right here.
head ass.
And
the old nigga like he was supposed to been done retired.
Especially a case where they've had somebody locked up for so many years.
Yeah, he got that nigga to retirement
already. So Judge Fiend, it was the new judge, decided, I'm not pushing
this
back no further.
Buckner head ass. You know the niggas look like they in the army and shit.
The set date for that trial date to begin will be September 10th.
Steroid head ass.
Despite the prosecution or the state
this bitch trying to run her whole damn life.
Give us some more time. Push it back to 2026. I would think YNW Melly's attorneys would have pushed it back this time, or asked for it to be pushed back this time, asked for a delay, but it wasn't. This time it was the prosecution that was asking for a delay. So, here's what's also popping in the YNW Melly trial, or the YNW Melly case that's leading up to his retrial. YNW Melly's double murder retrial is back on the calendar. A Florida judge rejected a request by the state in the proceedings, meaning the jury selection will begin on September 10th as planned. A lot of people might think the case is going to be tried starting on September 10th. The jury selection process will begin September 10th of 2025.
So that's the jury selection is September 10th. That's when they selecting the whole jury.
Are scheduled to begin on September 16th. If you ask me, that's kind of rushed.
I mean, it's better to have a rush one than a long one.
Out of probably about 50 to 100
He's been waiting for
people,
6 years.
They're going to have to ask everybody, do you know about the YNW Melly case?
Most definitely they do.
The YNW Melly case? Do you listen to rap music? How do you feel about rap music that has come out in the last 10
See, I ain't never been on a jury trial.
Do you know much about YNW Melly, YNW Juvie, YNW Sack Chaser, and anything like along those lines? They'll have to question them just like how they did with the jury or jury members in Diddy trial, just so they could weed out all the people who might have biases, weed out all the people who might not be able to listen to instructions.
Man, they need some good ass jury
look
people,
over
man.
evidence
They
that's
need one person who's gonna stand out against all these motherfuckers. Free that nigga. Crip,
they might have to weed out people who are not intellectually
put his lawyer on the stand. Fuck it.
To go
he in the
through all
jury.
that.
She a goofball.
All that stuff. So, picking the jurors will start September 10th of 2025.
September
this will
10th
run
is
up
insanely
until
quick.
the 16th of September. The arguments will begin, which means the state will take the floor. The state will take the floor to say, we are here today to try YNW Melly, or Jamel Demons, known as YNW Melly in the entertainment world, for the murder of YNW Juvie, Christopher Thomas, and YNW Sack Chaser, Anthony Williams. And these are the evidence we have before you. We have reason to believe that he is guilty, he is the shooter, he's the murderer, and he deserves the death penalty.
That's what the prosecutor's
or life
gonna
in
say.
prison without parole at the least. And then his attorneys will jump up and say, we have reason to believe that our client is not who the state is trying to make him out
I don't
to be,
know if
and
I
is
want
not
her. If
responsible
I want
for
that
the
bitch
crime
right
he is
here
accused
over
of.
my life,
And
do I get life or
that
death
will kick
with this
off the
bitch?
whole
She's a
stuff
bimbo.
on the 16th of September.
I mean, she a ride or die because she risking her whole career.
Now,
To get YNW Melly out, but it's like, damn, nigga.
More than a year
You fucking up.
after his first trial. His first trial ended in a hung jury. If you remember, or if you didn't see it, there was one juror on there who decided that no matter what they say to the person, they're going to vote not guilty. They don't want to hear no more evidence. They're just going to vote not guilty. And for a long time, it was 11-1. That was pretty close. That one juror might have saved them.
11-1.
And then that one juror kept coming back to the courtroom and kept asking to see this and see that.
Yeah, she really was that one.
Testimonies that were given before and some more of the evidence that was shown in the courtroom before. It kept going back. Then that one juror eventually said to the rest of the jurors, I don't care what y'all show me, I'm voting not guilty.
Damn, she was a real one, nigga.
For the jury pool.
They're ready to get that nigga out the paint.
That to the judge. Hey, judge, we tried. The person said, no matter what they get shown after this, they don't care. They just voting not guilty.
Damn, she was a real one.
That one juror must have somehow locked eyes with YNW Melly's mother while she was in the courtroom and had some kind of sympathetic something going on with her and decided to save her son, right? Then, on top of that juror...
She was a real one. That's why you gotta have real people, man, because you might got these phony-ass, baloney-ass niggas say they're religious or they believe in the real, but they niggas don't be knowing shit. All that stuff get out the paint when some real shit come out their face.
And not willing to change their vote, straight up guilty.
If you believe in God, you can believe in God no matter what. That's a fact.
He wasn't guilty or they weren't sure, so they're not voting guilty. Y'all gotta remember something. In the state of Florida where YNW Melly is being tried, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, made sure that in Florida, when they say you get 50 years in prison, you no longer go to prison for 25 years, out in 30, early parole, probation.
Just the whole years.
You doing straight 50.
Woo, that's a 50 ball.
He also made sure that in the state of Florida, whenever it is a death penalty
50
case,
years in jail is insane, nigga.
This is a death penalty case.
Around a bunch of niggas.
Before,
if you don't get no CO, that's females, nigga. You
actually needed
go to the nurse, try to fuck on the nurses.
To say,
hey, shit, niggas up.
In the sentencing phase,
try to fuck on the nurses, you know what I'm saying? Talk to a couple of COs.
To say death penalty.
You know what I'm saying? See if you get into in the lunch section.
The governor of Florida
if there's any females up in that bitch, then that's that, nigga. You could.
The Florida said you only need 8. And he wrote
be like them deadly
so
couples.
Now the stakes are high.
Manipulator CO.
Melly, if he is found guilty in the sentencing phase, when that part comes up, if 8 of those 12 jurors say he should be on death row, he's going to death row. Believe it or not, YNW Melly fans, a lot of them, they still believe that he's going to beat this case and he's going to walk out.
But he got another charge after that.
I saw the trial and I thought the state really.
So all it takes is 8 people as death penalty off the bat.
Their case
that's
that
wild.
Melly was guilty, from what I saw presented in court. However, watching this drag on from 2023 till now in 2025, I'm thinking there might be a possibility for him to walk out of this. And I don't know how, don't see it, but I think it's possible.
There's a chance.
So, this retrial
if the jury
1 year
really fucks with YNW Melly
in court
and they beat this shit, fuck
his
it.
First trial.
But then he got the second
July 2023 trial centered around the 2018 shooting death of Melly's 2 close friends. The storyline was
what do y'all think, gang? If you go in jail for 50 years or the death penalty, I don't know, bitch. They both suck.
To cover up
I don't know,
man. The murders and sent YNW.
The other one's eternity. You know what I'm saying? This one, you 50 years for like eternity.
To the hospital and act frantic, pretending he had just been shot up. Miraculously, no bullets hit him, but 2 persons in the car was killed. Well, if you watch the trial, again, forensic specialists, they went back out to the streets. They asked, where did the shooting happen? And YNW Portland gave a description of the area.
Damn.
He said what street it was on, where on the highway, whatever. Forensics didn't find no broken glass. They didn't find any bullet casings. And guess what? That area of the highway was also under video surveillance. They didn't see anything happen on that either, which is when they got suspicious. And they were like, I don't think this happened there. There were a whole lot of other pieces of evidence in the YNW Melly trial which really gave it away. Like, for instance, whoever was shooting from the outside of the car shot into the door jambs of the car without piercing the outside of the car door. The only way that could have happened is if the door was wide open when the person who was shooting from the outside of the car. You can't shoot into the door jamb of the car without shooting the outside of the car door. That and many more pieces that led me to believe this was definitely staged. So, again, since then, YNW Melly has been fighting on multiple fronts. He's complained of cruel treatment while he is in custody under the Broward
at this point, I think everybody getting that cruel treatment like cereal, nigga. They giving that out just for fun. Nigga, you think you almost found guilty, nigga? We gonna give you cruel treatment for lunch and breakfast
fight this
and
case
dinner.
from the outside. Each request has been denied. He'll remain incarcerated until the trial starts, with the courts, the judge actually siding with the prosecutors, who argued that the presumption of guilt in this case is extremely strong. On top of the criminal case, YNW Melly is also facing civil lawsuits that have been filed by the family members of both the victims.
3 hot games. Dating a celebrity is very hard.
Family members of both the victims. So, even while he's behind bars, YNW Melly's name keeps on surfacing when you talk about culture, when you talk about rap, and when you talk about the stories that are trending out here. So, something that he isn't exactly thrilled about, like earlier this year, Kendrick Lamar name-dropped him in a song called Euphoria. And Melly responded and said, I'm a household name, just for the wrong shit.
Damn.
That's what he told TMZ in a interview. And during one court appearance last August, he was seen mounting something, making signs, something to his lawyer about going home. Well, a moment that only added to
So is she the witness tampering?
This
Are
trial.
they trying to get YNW Melly for?
It's been delayed.
And it's the
delay
judge and the
after
lawyer
delay
getting
after
witness tampering from
delay.
the other
Shortly
lawyer.
after he said he was going home, the judge made sure that he wasn't going home. So come September the 10th, YNW Melly will start to walk down that road again to learn his faith again. I can't even picture what that must feel like. But it is what it is. A lot of people are saying free YNW Melly, but a lot of people are also saying justice for YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie. People are still wondering, where the hell is YNW Portland? And could YNW Portland strike a deal with the prosecution? Tell it all.
We don't know.
Throw YNW Melly under the bus.
I mean, he kept it solid for this long.
Walk with, not really walk free. They'll give him some time, but at least he won't be getting the death penalty, and he won't be getting life without parole. It's a double murder. I didn't pull a trigger, but I did try to help to cover it up because I was in fear of my own life. He was sitting behind me with a gun. that he just used to kill 2 other people in the same car I was in. I think they'll let YNW Portland off with like 15, 20 years or something. At least he could see his way out of prison. YNW Melly, on the other hand, might never be released from prison.
He get the death penalty
if YNW Portland decides to go that route. And then there is YNW Melly's girlfriend, or ex-girlfriend at this point, who ran away instead of being subpoenaed and answering the subpoena.
Nigga went on Law and Crime and tried to talk to him like they were their best friend. Nigga, that's crazy.
The state knows that she knows that the state wants
for the feds. Nigga, they giving all the shit up.
But she ain't
They giving all your shit up, nigga. They ain't saving your shit for nothing.
Wherever she ran to, she ran out of resources. She ran out of comfort. She ran out of her mama's love.
Damn.
And she decided, I can't take this shit no more. I'm going home. So as she was coming back into the country, she was apprehended at the airport. She was arrested, and she was taken to the Broward County Jail. She was scared as hell. She had never been arrested like that before. She made a deal with the judge. The judge made a deal with her that she will remain on house arrest, and when this trial starts, when she is called to testify, she will do exactly so. I don't think she's going up there to plead the fifth. And I don't think she's going up there to say, I don't remember, I don't recall.
I think she gonna give it up. At least some of it.
Because I think she knows that they could hit her with perjury or
they gonna get out. They get out the paint easy. It's 10 years.
Afraid of being in a jail.
They at least give her 10 years. Get behavior, she got in 3 years.
Anyway,
you know what I'm saying?
But this is the latest update for the YNW Melly case leading up to YNW Melly's retrial for his double murder. May justice be served. Leave your comments in the comment section below.
Let's see how the people feel about the YNW case and what's going on.
I know. I said I would I'll keep everybody updated with what's happening. I know right now we're waiting. So basically,
this is mom.
The judge is going to do, I guess, a written order. So we're just waiting, and that order can come any minute, or it can come tomorrow. I don't know. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting. So everybody just keep praying, keep having faith. Tessa, I've been crying too. It's been a long time coming.
You saw Melly's statement just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life. As a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean,
they racist, man.
They are making up their own rules. We tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that
they can do whatever the fuck they want at the end of the day.
He's saying that someone just shot the car up and was trying to shoot them. So I asked him if he was okay, where he was.
You got all the evidence. You got everything right, man, and they can still make up some shit to get your ass kicked. I promise you.
I think they're still out here or something. So I'm like, are you okay? He's like, I'm okay. I said, well, where are Zach and Judy? And he said, I don't know if they're in the car. I think they're...
The first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what I'm supposed to use.
Okay.
Here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. It's just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once. And
so are they gonna do it? Are they gonna do the trial together? Win,
each other during the trial.
Because the YNW Melly team was trying to say that he did the shit.
Point the finger at each other and get away with it.
I don't fucking know, bitch.
This is what's going on, but I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking a penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. They're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial. The penalty phase only if Melly is found
for his lives. Corlon Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car, two bodies, car riddled with. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having the phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket, not Corlon Henry.
So the
That's crazy.
right hand of Corlon Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of tar residue and two component particles. And the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of tar residue and 1 2-component particle.
Damn.
And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was tar residue present on the hands.
I would assume that he spent a lot of money on lawyers. Like an amount that would probably...
That kid spent a lot of money on a lot of things that shouldn't have been spent on.
Really? Like what else?
And cars, jewelry. And he's not even out to wear the jewelry. I'm like, why are you buying jewelry? You're not here to wear the jewelry.
No, definitely lawyers are probably the best thing you can spend.
That's what bro. But he's good with lawyers, bro. Like, money ain't an issue for lawyers. Like, he's fine. But it's just like, there was a lot of stuff that should have went to lawyers that he didn't spend on lawyers. And I'm like, bro. And now it's like, he don't even want to change it.
As Melly's lawyer submitted his new bond release package, the question now is whether it's strong enough to earn his release. In the documents, Melly's legal team proposed a bond, though they didn't specify the amount, which would be covered by his record label, 300 Entertainment.
They
If the court
still got
grants
a
the
record
bond,
label?
they promised the judge that Melly would remain under house arrest, wear
My
an ankle
record label
monitor,
would've dipped
and be
these
supervised by round-the-clock private security to ensure compliance.
Look at,
The proposal was so compelling that even a fellow rapper
Bobby
reacted by
Shmurda,
saying,
yeah.
"That boy Melly's coming home, I feel it." But what really stands out is the physical evidence included in the package, which could tip the scales in Melly's favor. One major piece is an interview with Melly's mother, where she detailed the inhumane conditions he's facing in jail treatment that could be considered illegal.
You saw Melly's statement just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life. As a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean,
all these 12 places need to be investigated. They
are
all
making
some
up their
bullshit.
own rules. We tried to go to court about this situation.
Making
The
up
judge
shit
really
that don't
doesn't
even need
have
to be made
any,
up.
Jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone.
They then presented evidence from the original trial that the new judge hadn't previously seen. This included proof that contradicts the federal claim that Melly committed the crime inside the Jeep. GPS data shows that YNW Melly was actually seen sprinting down the street and hiding in a bush. His exact location was tracked by AT&T through the cell phone that was in his jeans pocket at the time.
So that might be a good thing for YNW Melly. If the car gets shot up and he ran down the street, he's not trying to get shot.
He was like, there's some, there's some. I think they're still out here or something. So I'm like, are you okay? He's like, I'm okay. I said, well, where are Zach and Juby? And he said, I don't know if they're in the car. I think they're...
To support the claim that it was actually a drive-by shooting, the original trial revealed that no firearm was ever recovered at the scene. This strongly suggests that the incident could have been a drive-by, with the shooter fleeing the scene and taking the weapon with...
The first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this dissertation because I don't know what I was using.
Okay.
With the bond release package looking so strong, prosecutors became worried it might actually be approved. That's when they made a concerning move. According to reports, a no communication order was filed in the YNW Melly trial. This order strictly prohibits any contact between Melly and Bortland, no conversations, No shared legal counsel, just complete silence. Prosecutors appear to be using this tactic to pressure Bortlen into cooperating by planning to try both him and Melly together in the upcoming trial. That means they'll be sitting side by side in court as evidence is presented, allegedly linking them both to the crime.
Here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together, just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other.
We're talking about his other, I think
during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it that way.
They
can point the
two
finger at each
different type
other
of trials.
and get away with it. So this is what's going on, but I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking penalty for Melly.
I think it does because nigga, he only facing life. This nigga facing death penalty. They got two different trials, basically.
Guilt phase is the same.
It's the same shit, but two different shit.
Capital crimes, you're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial. The penalty phase only if Melly is found.
This was the critical mistake prosecutors made during the first trial, not having both defendants sit side by side. If Bortlen knows he didn't commit the crime, it becomes incredibly difficult for him to sit there in court and silently accept a life sentence. That pressure could push him to turn on Melly, and that's exactly what the prosecutors are counting on. Their strategy appears deliberate, especially considering that in the original trial, YNW Melly's lawyers were attempting to shift the blame onto Bortlen.
Break his lives.
Look at that. Look at that clean assist, nigga.
Shows up.
He's guilty as well. You know how they try to like a little
Miramar.
cat got your tongue shit or
you don't see
like,
him sitting
your
there
ass like you
where
did the shit when you didn't even do the
He's
shit.
in the driver's seat of the
Who
car.
fucking knows, man? This shit's wild, man.
Car riddled with.
You trying to hit that nigga
When he shows up,
Crip.
with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he is discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred.
Damn.
He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said everybody has a phone in his pocket, not Cortland Henry.
During the trial, Melly's own lawyer argued that it was Bortlen who had been lying to federal investigators and not Melly. The defense pointed out that Bortlen was the one who had gunpowder residue on his hands. To strengthen their case, they even brought in a forensic scientist who had examined the victims and was able to provide detailed testimony confirming the presence of residue.
So what do y'all think, man? A drive-by, Bortlen did the shit. Like, what are we getting at this, man?
Zero particles characteristic.
Man. I'm hoping it's just drive-by. None of them niggas did the shit. It was somebody else. They just don't know who did it.
One particle characteristic of residue and one particle.
And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was residue present on the hands.
What many people didn't realize is that Bortlen wasn't happy about how things were unfolding. After Melly's mistrial was declared, reports noted that Bortlen posted a cryptic message on social media the very same day. The tweet read, "Mind games don't work on people like me," followed by a handshake emoji, almost as if he was signaling that he had accepted a deal. This is where the situation becomes even more unsettling. If Bortlen is seated next to Melly in the next trial, federal prosecutors can use Bortlen's own interrogation from the night of the crime. In that footage, he was caught lying to police, clearly trying to protect his best friend, Melly.
Hey, tell me what happened.
Then I was playing music, getting up, I was already getting sleepy, almost home, you know what I'm saying? And like, just out of nowhere, like, sure, you know what I'm saying? So then I ducked down, you know what I'm saying, in the car, and I almost crashed.
Let me back you up a few minutes. Where were you coming from?
I was coming from the studio.
Fort Lauderdale studio. Which way did you take?
I took I-75, 595 to
75. Then you took
Man, it's been so damn long. They
It
probably
became clear
don't
to
know
the
how to
officers
drive
that
no more.
Bortlen's story wasn't adding up. This was all happening on the very night of the crime, and Bortlen was sitting there trying to act confident, attempting to make his version of events sound believable so that neither he nor Melly would get caught in a lie. But the act didn't hold up for long. Bortlen was eventually caught in that lie.
Here's the hard part where we're having a hard time to understand is that we shut down that entire area and we had officers shoulder to shoulder walk it out. They didn't find as much as one shell casing. They didn't find one piece of glass. Nothing. Nothing
So,
what you said
Did they have shell catchers and clean up the glass? I don't fucking know.
I'm telling you, bro, that's the class.
I mean, for whatever reason, your two friends, are these your good friends?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These are
these your two, I'm assuming close friends.
No.
And you're doing them an inservice by not telling us the truth.
I'm telling you the truth, son. I don't what do you want?
How do you make shell casings disappear?
Shell catcher picked them hoes up.
I don't know.
But I don't think that they had anything to do with it.
This is where the interrogation started to go downhill. Bortland began to lose his composure as the officers clearly weren't buying his version of the events. His frustration started to show, and you could see the pressure getting to him. He was sweating, growing visibly anxious, and clearly just wanted to get out of that interrogation room as fast as possible.
I told y'all a story, and that's it, bro. I don't even talk about it no more. Like, cause I told y'all what. Like, I don't know.
Okay, just so you know, all right, because you're saying, well, I don't want to talk anymore. There's going to be a lot more questions. And we're not trying to piss you off. The thing is, we don't know your friends.
Yeah.
So the reason we have to ask all these questions, because the more we know about your friends, your lifestyle, your friend's lifestyle, your friends, his friends, and the circumstances surrounding today, the more, easier it's going to be for us to try and solve this.
At this stage of an interrogation, it's common for a suspect to shut down, refusing to talk, and showing no interest in continuing the conversation. When that happens, it becomes the officer's job to reset the tone and rebuild some level of trust in order to keep the suspect talking. The goal is to ask questions in a way that might cause the suspect to either slip up and change parts of their original story or accidentally reveal too much. So the officer would steer the conversation towards specific details, asking about what happened in the moment during the alleged drive-by. How was he driving? Did he crash into anything? Did he drop any items? These questions are meant to catch the suspect off guard and test the consistency of his story.
And I'm driving, ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me you telling me about shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? Why am I gonna be worried about it? You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
Shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there's got to be some evidence there. There's going to be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here when you guys open the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's going to be broken glass over there when the windows got out. There's going to be casings from the people at your car. Okay, there's going to be evidence over there. Okay, right now there's nothing. I kind of think I know what happened, because I got information.
With the clock ticking and their allowed interrogation time running out, the officer decided to get straight to the point. Looking Bortland in the eye, he asked directly, "If you knew who did this, would you tell me?"
By just telling me the truth, even if it's something that I don't want to hear.
Hell no.
But I respect
the 99 life and death may be looking real crazy though.
Okay, and a simple question: if you knew who did this, okay? You may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly.
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
I wouldn't want to be a part of it.
At that critical moment, Bortland didn't give a clear yes or no answer. In fact, he didn't say anything at all. Instead, he simply shook his head no, and that silence was important. If White and W. Melly had committed the crime, Bortland would almost certainly know, and verbally denying it might have caused his voice to crack or shift in pitch, something that often happens when someone is lying under pressure. That kind of vocal change could have tipped off the officer that Bortland was hiding something, but the situation only gets more complicated from here. What many people don't know is that the judge struck a deal with Melly's ex-girlfriend, Mariah Hamilton. She had been living outside the United States ever since before Melly's original trial and was supposed to testify against him, but she never showed up. Because of that, she became a wanted fugitive, and authorities had been searching for her for years.
Maya Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
The judge offered Mariah a deal. If she agreed to testify against Melly, she would be released from jail. Mariah accepted without hesitation. Devastating news for YNW Melly. After her release, she posted on Facebook writing, "And to my village, thank you. To my village, I love you all so much. God's plan, not mine." What makes this so alarming is that investigators uncovered disturbing evidence in Mariah's iCloud account evidence suggesting that Melly may have pressured or intimidated her into not testifying during the original trial. This kind of action is legally considered witness tampering, a serious crime that carries a potential life sentence on its own, regardless of whether Melly was actually responsible for the deaths of Sack Chaser and Juvie.
Filing 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction.
The witness tampering case would be handled separately from Melly's ongoing case involving the deaths of Sack Chaser and Juvie. Since the original trial ended in a mistrial, there's still a real possibility that Melly could be found not guilty in their deaths. However, depending on what investigators find in Mariah's iCloud account, he could still be convicted of witness tampering, a charge that alone could carry a life sentence. Things have only gotten more intense behind bars. As a result of the investigation, Melly's access to jail phones has been completely cut off. He hasn't been allowed to make a single call in months. The situation became so serious that Jamie King went public, doing an interview where she called out the county jail for refusing to let him use the phone.
My son has not been convicted of anything.
He called out the county jail for refusing to let him use the phone.
My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone.
Man, we about to get ready for this trial, man.
To be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail, they don't give it to him.
If the evidence turns out to be true that YNW Melly was using the jail phone to commit witness tampering, that would explain why his phone privileges were cut off completely. The most alarming part is that authorities almost certainly have concrete evidence. They wouldn't revoke his phone access based on just a suspicion. Doing so without proof could lead to a major lawsuit, something the jail would never risk. Yet despite all of this, the judge was still open to the possibility of releasing Melly. In fact, the judge invited him to the courtroom to speak on the specifics directly.
DCMP asked him if he was okay, and his response was, "I did that," and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly count said, "Well."
After that,
the judge then gave prosecutors one final opportunity to present evidence explaining why Melly should remain behind bars. What they revealed could be devastating. They began with data from Melly's phone showing that just hours after the crime, he sent a text message that appeared to be an admission of guilt.
That's when they outside partying after the nigga died.
Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive.
Staying positive.
Turn still.
You like it?
Hey.
Turn up.
No, still turn.
Turn up, nigga. Yeah. They ain't take a real one out, nigga. I'll be turned 3, nigga. They ain't take me out. Pray for the other ones. Hey, man, let's see how this gonna turn out, man. This shit getting wild as a bitch.
You back. See, what makes this case so better now that they pushed it back, not pushed it back, kept it on the same thing, is they can't keep on getting new evidence. You know what I'm saying? The longer they keep on pushing this shit back, the more they can get evidence. You know what I'm saying? Because it's more chances for people to fuck up. It's more chances for people to get in more trouble. You know what I'm saying? Right now, they taking away shit from the prosecutor's side and the defendant's side on YNW side. You know what I'm saying? The prosecutors can't show certain shit, but the defendants also can't show certain shit. So y'all gotta understand, it was only one person that kept Warren W. Melly from, I don't know if the death penalty or just getting life, bro. You know what I'm saying? So they ain't getting new jury on September the 10th. They ain't pushing back, thank God, because pushing it back is gonna be worse for Warren W. Melly. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, they finna see if he gonna get the death penalty, regular jail, not regular jail, but you get what I'm saying? Like the jail sentence, or if they gonna let him free. We banging on that he get free because we don't have really substantial evidence that he really did the shit. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of it pointed to it was a drive-by. But hey, at the end of the day, man, we just gotta see what the jury gonna say because it's all up to the jury now. You know what I'm saying? They got to see all the evidence and everything. Got a new judge and everything. So this shit getting wild, man. Make sure y'all fuck with your boy, like, subscribe, and we out this bitch. Hood, Northside, big crip in the gang, Northside shit.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. Even though this is instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.